Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this.
But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast. I'm your host Mike, and today joining me we have Paul. We were going to have some other guests on International Women's Day, but they both had to pull out for different reasons. So we've got an all-male panel, me and Paul. We're going to talk about the win over Crawley, and we're going to look forward to the postponed match the match against Barrow. You can obviously help with costs to support the show, one-off donations or regular subscriptions by joining us on Patreon. If you want to know more, look for the Support Us page on the website or drop me a message by email or at Sutton Podcast on any of the socials. A big thank you to everyone who supported in the past, and a very big thank you to the ones who are currently still are supporting. Couple of little bits. I was on my Facebook today and went onto the Facebook memories, and from a year ago, my Facebook memory was holy shitballs. Do you know why that was, Paul?
I saw that on Facebook. Yeah, I did see that, and I think I guessed right in my own head. Anyway, I didn't see the answer. It was the semi-final of the Papa John's, was it?
It was indeed the semi-final, and I think there was a few others during the day. It was ha ha ha, and then I repeat ha 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 when I showed the scoreboard at 1-1, and then after we won, it was just holy shitballs. But strangely, 2 years ago, I put up a song that's Timmy Templar one, Written in the Stars, and said this should be Sutton United's. We should adopt this as a theme song, because obviously 2 years ago we were in the National League, and this is when we've started on this kind of non-stop steamroller run. So yeah, it looks like today is an important day in my Sutton United Facebook. But we're going to get to the actual game. Paul, it's been 31 days since you were last on. Do you remember the match?
Really? 31 days? No, I don't.
It was the Stevenage game.
Oh. Well, a lot's happened since then, hasn't it?
Absolutely. How have you been since then?
I've been good, thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, no, I'm all good. All good. I haven't missed many home. In fact, I don't think I missed a home game since then. Only get to go to the occasional away game, but get me Sutton, Phil.
Yeah. Before we start, what was your thoughts on Redgate?
Oh, Redgate. I like my heritage in football, and I love the idea of it. I thought some lovely touches all day. Really enjoyed it, and I thought the kit was a lovely touch. The kit itself, it was very red, wasn't it? So it was. I didn't like the kit much, and because of that heritage thing, I wouldn't buy it. But as a one-off that day, and if they are thinking about it as a third kit, then I thought it was all good from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, I think I might have said this last time, when they all came running out, because they'd put the picture of the badge up earlier in the day, when they came running out and it had the crew were in the blue stripes, I was like, oh, that's a nice kit, because I'd convinced myself it was going to be striped. And I was like, that's a nice kit, a bit of blue and blue, that's nice. And then realised, no, that's not it, it's the red. The only thing I kind of think is, I'm not sure how often we're going to get to see it. Because a lot of the teams that we play in red, obviously we might be moving up a division, we'll come on to that, but a lot of teams that we play in red, so it's quite a common colour, and I think a lot of us come to love Sutton because they're not very common colours that we play in.
Yeah, I mean, my big bugbear is that we don't use the chocolate enough, but I did have a spell working in football for a bit, and I do get colours sell and shirts a profit and that kind of thing, and chocolate. I mean, I think Surrey had a crack at using the brown ones in some of their stuff, and that doesn't sell too well. So
Yeah.
I do get the big picture, but it would have been lovely to see the black and white chocolate and brown stripes, for instance.
Yeah. Red is, and I did definitely say this last time, red is, studies have shown, the most successful colour in football, winning trophies and all sorts of things. And it's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. But what we're going to do now is we're going to Ultimate Team Challenge.
And now, 125 years in the making. The Sutton United Talk Time On podcast. Sutton United all-time Ultimate 11.
So what we're looking for is the name of who you want to challenge, who you want to replace them with, and then your sales pitch on why your player should be put in the team.
So I have Tommy Wright to challenge Craig Dundas up front. I don't even believe in that pitch myself, but I've only been watching the club 7 or 8 years properly. But it does. Tommy Wright has a. So my son started watching 17-18 season. Tommy Wright was his first hero, if you like, and at a time when he was. Even now, when we're talking about we haven't got an out-and-out goal scorer and put the ball in the back of the net, I think Tommy Wright was the first. That was the one, certainly for my son, the guy who could put it in the back of the net. Give him half a chance. I don't know what his XG was, but I heard it was pretty good. But so I would put Tommy Wright forward for knowing where the goal is.
Perfect. Okay. And next up, we've got Dave Fry, who sent his in via message. So if anyone wants to do the same, drop me an email with either a video or an audio file and just let me know your name, a little bit about yourself, and then who you want to challenge and why.
Hello, my name's Dave. I've been a Sutton United supporter for over 30 years. Now living in Hampshire, but still trying to get up to the odd Sutton game when I can. I still love talking about Sutton United. I'd like to nominate Dominic Felton instead of Dundo up front. For me, in the 90s, I used to come to watch Sutton United every week as a teenager, and Dominic Felton was probably that one player up front that was always scoring goals, drop deep, bring other players in, scores goals for fun, take players on, great dribbler. It's just a fantastic player. It's just, I think at that time he was scoring so many goals. He was everyone's favourite player back then. But he would be the one to play up front with Paul McKinnon.
So there we go. We've actually got 2 challenges for Craig Dundas' spot. So we've got a three-way battle. Not sure how I'm going to do this, but hang on, mind, it's three-way battle. We've got Craig Dundas trying to defend his title against Tommy Wright and Dom Felton. So the votes will go out ASAP, and just let us know what you think, guys. Okay, let's go on to the match. Let's talk about it. I left the house a little bit later because it was cold, or it was supposed to be cold. I had I had 3 pairs of socks, my running leggings, my jeans, undershirts, vest, t-shirt, hoodies. I was in danger of overheating, and as I reached the gate, there were people being searched. And I did worry they were going to find my 2 hats and 2 gloves. And I kind of got there and I started loading everything out, and the bloke just took one look at me and went, "No, you're right, in you go." I was like, "What, am I supposed to be just too old that I'm not going to be searched?"
He didn't fancy the half-hour challenge of
No.
going through all your clothing.
Were you searched coming in, or?
I wasn't searched, no, but I was definitely wrapped up.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it was freezing, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah. I even had long football socks on to come up to my knees because they were getting right ropey.
Yeah.
And then it didn't get as cold as they said though. They said it was going to drop to like -4, and it was nowhere near it.
Yeah, and I didn't feel too bad until I think it got about 80 minutes, and I started to feel it. Yeah. But I did. My tactics were I didn't drink any beer, which is quite unusual for me. But so I went straight to Roses and tucked into the Bovril.
Nice. But what was your thoughts on the lineup? A couple of changes.
Yeah, I don't know if they were forced, or there was a little bit of rotation in there, knowing that we've got a lot of games coming up. I didn't, but I was fairly relaxed about it. I was interesting to see Matt Dennis start. I can't remember if that was what start that was for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it was good to see. It's good to see that we can mix and match it because we might need to in the next couple of months. So I was fairly relaxed about the lineup.
Yeah. And how were you feeling first half? Let's go pre 40 minutes or whatever time the first goal was.
So and it is linked. I stood on the TARDIS for the first half, which I don't normally do, but just fancy mixing it up really. So I got a good look at that first 40 minutes as we were attacking, and I think the conclusion I came away from it was we weren't playing too badly, but we were just overplaying it. And obviously we've got a number of systems, and you know they use those systems to try and make some space for themselves, an opening for themselves. But it felt like almost there was a few times where we got the space, and then so we ran to the corner looking for the cross, and then we ran back out again, and then passed it back to the defenders. So it felt like, I don't know if there was just a lack of confidence with the ball in or something like that, or they just weren't set in the middle or something like that. So it looked like we were very industrious. We were reasonably in control, I'd say, for those 40 minutes, but it was a lot of industry and not a lot going on really until the break.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed that we're going through that spell of, again, you say overpassing it or just picking a horrendously bad pass, and it just was missing people, and it was just they were drilling passes to someone who only needed a little soft touch, and it just wasn't working. I mean, the keeper, I don't think either keeper had a save to make in the entire first half. I mean, obviously we scored a goal, but you can make a save. Yeah. So I don't think either keeper actually made a save, which kind of has its own thing. But it was a lot of huff and puff, but literally the one moment of quality. I think Omar played up to him. He couldn't do anything with it, and he played it back out for Dave to come back into him.
Yeah.
One moment of quality. But even then, realistically, they left Omar McGill unmarked in the box.
Yeah. And it came from a breakdown, didn't it? So after all that trying to make a breakthrough and a bit of space for ourselves, actually it came from a breakdown. The pass back. It was a nice ball in from Dave, wasn't it? And a lovely cushioned header. So, but yeah, it was. So never looked like we were going to let one in, but equally, I was surprised when we scored.
Yeah, it came as a nice surprise. You're quite right. Second half, had you had your second Bovril, or were you in the queue, or were you still moving around?
Still around. Yeah, so I moved to the cheap seats where you are, and then moved over to the curver and then it was all us. Well, I mean the goal was it was a killer for them, wasn't it? I mean we won't dwell too much on Crawley, but they are awful, aren't they? I think the last team I saw that bad was probably Scunthorpe down our way, really. They look they just haven't got the players don't look good enough. And it didn't take much for the heads to drop, and they were all over the place. They wanted to go home, didn't they? So and to that second goal on, what was it, 46, 47?
Yeah, I think it was about 90 seconds after the restart.
Yeah. So that was it really. And once that went in, it was all over.
Yeah, some great little battling on the far side by Matt Dennis.
Yeah,
and there's a bit of a bounce around, bit of pinball in the box, and then somehow Omar done a back heel volley. I mean, I happened to have whipped the camera out because for some reason people just love random football clips on the old TikTok. So I just take random shots and splice them all together. And I happened to get it, and we're all kind of sitting there watching on the phone, going, "What did he do? How did he do that?"
Because it was crowded box, wasn't it? And from where we were, certainly you couldn't see it. What happened, really? Could you? I thought, in fact, it was an own goal, but now I've seen the clips. I mean, that's just cheeky, isn't it?
That's an amazing goal.
Yeah,
I mean, I did like Matt's comment after. I mean, you think of all the other 92 clubs, and one of their strikers scores a goal like that, the managers will be coming out absolutely praising them to the hills. Our manager says, "I think I need to have another look at it, see if he meant it."
I feel so pleased for him, because he works his buns off week in, week out, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he doesn't score hundreds, and he's not expected to. It's more of a rounded approach for his game in that system, isn't it? So for him to bag a couple, it was a shame he went off. Actually, I can see why he took it. But I thought I was dying for him to get his hat trick.
I think we all were, actually, to be fair. But yeah, he even said in the interview afterwards, his game's not about goals. He doesn't judge himself on goals. is the 3 points, and then if he scores to get the 3 points, great. But I think on the games like opening game last season where he scored our first goal ever, EFL goal, but we lost to Forest Green, you could kind of see that he didn't give a shit. He scored. He was like, we lost the game. What's the point? But then, I mean, they had a little spell. I know what you said.
They did.
Because I did think to myself, Crawley have been awful, and I was like, well, we've not been that much better in the first half. But you're right, they were never in any danger. But they had a little spell.
They had a couple of goals, didn't they? A couple of shots.
Yeah, Jack had to make a couple of good saves.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows how good he is that it's like, okay, Jack's made another great save. Yeah, okay. But they were great saves, fantastic saves. And he's turning into an absolutely beasting goal.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, he's pulling out some saves, and we're treating it as a norm, aren't we? Yeah. And at key points as well, as you say. I mean, you know, it felt as though the game was never in doubt. But actually, if one of those had gone in, that last might have pepped them up a little bit, mightn't it? And that last 20 minutes or so, half hour or so, could have got a bit squeaky bum time. But yeah, it came up good.
But yeah, I mean, he's doing brilliantly for a shit Lewis Ward. He's doing absolutely brilliantly. But their number 6, he was he loved an elbow. I'm sure he left it in on Joe. I know one of them did, and I was sure it's the 6. I haven't got that one. He definitely left it in on Omar.
Yeah.
And then again on Killian. Which Killian was. I mean, Killian's not a small, fragile little creature. He was sparked out. There's been a few comments about him from various different people, and they're like, yeah, that's what he's like. He's horrible. And a couple of Crawley fans were just like, he's just typical, just doesn't care anymore.
Right. Yeah. There was definitely some high elbows flying around, wasn't it? In that second half, especially. Yeah. And as you say, there was some big boys who went down, so that must have been a proper contact.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to roll around for nothing. But after they went down to 10, I mean, we never really massively punished teams. We did score with an assist from Jack Rose to lead, because Omar did end up coming off. I think at first, when the first sub went up, and it was Matty that came off, who again, by the way, had a great game. When he came off, we were thinking, oh, maybe Omar going to be left on, see if he can have a hat trick. Yeah, it was just a couple of minutes later. What was quite funny and noticeable is I think Omar saw the subs were getting readied, and he made his way towards the centre of the pitch to make sure he was the furthest point away from the sidelines to make sure he could take a little bit of time.
Nice touch.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, perfect. But yeah, Lee again.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Is he the kind of striker we're supposed to have? I mean, just sit there, just get coming on, shooting from everywhere, scoring goals. What's that all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've got, without getting all management speaking, we've got some options, haven't we?
Huge.
We really have. They were, And as you say, I thought Matt Dennis had a good game. Looked busy, looked pacey, obviously strong on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and slightly different to Wilson Donny on in that respect. So, but and I think both of them are great, but they do give us a slightly different way of playing, don't they?
Different problems for the defenders to deal with. And then another one, Killian should have had a goal as well.
It was him. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm convinced it was Killian. It might not have been, but I'm convinced it was Killian.
It was.
But yeah, it was well over the line.
That was bizarre, wasn't it? It was so far over. Yeah. And the linesman's in line as well, wasn't he? And it's like,
what are you looking at? Yeah, I mean, a couple of people have said that maybe Lee's goal was offside.
Yeah,
so it kind of evened itself out. I'll be honest, I haven't watched Lee's goal back, so I don't want to.
Nice finish. He took it on the up, didn't he? 1-on-1, took it on the up. Nice.
Yeah, really nice. But we could have. I mean, another day we could have had 5, 6. We just absolutely destroyed them. And as you say, their heads dropped straight away. Their fans were singing, "We've lost 6 in a row."
Yeah.
struggle for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough club to warm to, aren't they? I mean, but you don't want to see a club go down because of terrible ownership, do you? So you got to feel sorry for the fans for that, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, probably a big minority. With the old rivals, Carshalton, it was very funny when that bloke took over and he started running them into the ground. But they got to a certain point where I was like, okay, it can stop now. It's gone beyond. At first, it's funny, but now it's bad. But yeah,
old rivals, Mike. Old rivals.
Yeah,
are really big balls now. Look,
I know. Have to move with the times, apparently. But yeah, I mean, putting it a difficult club to warm to is putting it very, very diplomatically. I might use that again in the future. But
yeah.
Clean sheet.
No, we won't. Well, the only way we'll miss them is from a geographical perspective. It was nice to go to Orient, Stevenage, and Crawley, and they weren't too far away. And in fact, we might lose all three, might we? Well, of course, we might not if we go up.
No, exactly. We could have Woking come up.
Yeah.
Beat Wrexham in the final. That'd be fun. But yeah, a clean sheet, 3 goals, 3 points. We stay ninth. Positive goal difference.
Hey.
We're on +1. Still 2 points off the playoffs, although some of the teams around us have played less games. So
yeah.
But for all this looking at the playoffs, and we're only this many off the playoffs, only this many, I just cast my eyes a little bit further up yesterday. I realised we're only 6 off third.
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane. For those months that we struggled and huffed and puffed, how can we get that close? I think it's I mean, we'd have to have some amazing run and have a lot of people cutting each other's throats to help us out. But could we dream of third?
Wow, your glass is half full, isn't it? I think there's some strong teams up there, and I mean, what do you need? You need momentum, and you need a reasonably fit squad, don't you? And we've got that, and confidence, we've got that. But there's some big names up there who we've got some 6-pointers in there, haven't we? I mean, I guess part of the opportunity and part of the challenge is we play a lot of them, so we can really ruffle some feathers. But I think it'll be tough. I really do think it'll be tough. But we've got, and some of that's around squad depth. I think that actually some of these teams can pull on some really strong subs. But we've got our players back, or most of them.
And you alluded to earlier, we've for the first time in a while, we've got options to change things up. We do have options to look at plan B and potentially C as well. So
gonna be fun.
I know it's but yeah, the reason why I want to kind of talk about third is it means we avoid the whole thing about playoffs. We don't do very well in playoffs.
That would be bonkers. Mind you, we've done a few bonkers things, haven't we? So
exactly. I mean, in the next few weeks, I know we're going to come on to Barrow in a sec, but we've got Barrow, we've got Mansfield, and they're both around us. I think if we just keep chipping away at it. I mean, the other thing I had a little look at, which did surprise me, is before last night, we were 6 points away from where we were this time last year, which again seems mad because we had such a great spell last year. After last night, because this time last year we lost that game, we're only 3 points away, and the next game we lost as well. So if we win our next game, we're level on points in the same number of games with last season, which was a fantastic season.
Good stat, mate. I like it. I didn't know. That's that's good.
Yeah, to keep that
research,
up,
mate.
well, to keep that up, we need 22 points from the rest of the season.
Yeah, there was that. There was that.
Yeah,
isn't there?
But to be honest, that's less than 2 a game now. So again, it can happen. And on the stats front, yesterday was Matt Gray's 81st EFL League match. That doesn't sound right. And he only did 80 in the National League. So he has now played more league matches in the EFL than he played in non-league.
Wow. So, and I don't know about you. I mean, you just forget how much of a well, inexperienced is not the right word, was it? But how young a manager he is, and that's 160 games.
Yeah.
Total
league games.
League
So
games.
There's cup games as well. That didn't suit my narrative, so I've kept them out of the way.
So he must be, he must be on a bit of a learning curve as well. This must be, and what is his win percentage? It must be pretty good.
Oh, don't ask me. Now I have to sit there.
Oh, you on fire! I thought you'd be whipping that one out.
I'm more concerned with the late goals. I was sorting that out as well because we've got another late goal. So we kind of catch it. It didn't affect the result though, so it doesn't really mean anything. But we are catching up. I think we're only 6 points. We're only 6 points lost this season for late goals. But I think over the whole time he's been there, we're still in positive. So it's sort of, it's just amazing.
Absolutely.
And were you at the birthday celebration things or?
I was there for a bit. Yeah.
Did you see his speech or?
Oh, I missed. No, I had to go before then. Yeah.
He got all choked up and emotional about last year. He's a very emotional man, is our man.
That's nice.
He got all emotional about the final and the losing out, and it was really hard to take. And it's again just that whole thing of this just really feels like it's a long-term project. Which again, yesterday Watford have sacked another manager.
Yeah.
And it just seems so strange what they do, but anyway, never mind. They're not us. We don't.
I mean, I guess the biggest risk in all that is that some of the players, are being looked at, aren't they? And we'll struggle to keep some of them and things. But as long as we've got that conveyor belt there, the Sutton way.
Well, there's two things there. We've got quite a few players who have been away, and it's not quite worked out. So any of the players thinking of moving off, or players who've been around, be like, actually, am I going to get this same thing elsewhere? Obviously there's money. There's always money. They're professionals, but if people are getting games, if they're around a bunch of mates and all the rest of it, that adds value to everything. I mean, you look at just things like Luke. Luke's not getting any games for us. Luke can go out on loan. Luke could leave possibly if he really wanted to. But he's loving it. Every time you see Luke in any of the socials on the training or doing anything, he clearly loves the place. So there's obviously something about this particular group and the management that is doing good things. Not just on the pitch, obviously we can see that, but it's off the pitch and the great camaraderie between players. Right. So what we'll do quickly is Player of the Day nominations.
Now watch me do my dance. I'm the player of the day.
Stupidly, I did not ask Claire to give me hers, so I'm going to have to do some as well. So, who shall we have for your first one?
No surprise, but I'll go with Omar for my number one for his couple of goals and general play. And his camera work, obviously.
His camera work, that could become a thing now.
Yeah,
that was very well received.
It's great, wasn't it?
I mean, there was a spell earlier in the season. I think Omar was nominated almost every single week, and I don't think he's won any yet. So I think tonight
could be it.
Yeah, it's going to be his one.
Big chance.
I'm going to go with his partner in crime for most of the match. Matty battled away up front. Gave us something a little bit different. I think someone on the forums a bit more knowledgeable than me was saying where Donovan goes out, drifts out wide, Matt tends to stay more central and spin his defenders, which gives us different things. And as you alluded to, if one replaces the other, it gives the defenders a whole different problem to worry about. So I'm going to go with Matt as I don't even know if he liked being called Matty, but hey, at least we're not calling him Lenny. Who would you like for your second nomination?
No, that's a good shout. And as you said, Mike, while it didn't feel as though we were particularly troubled, they had a couple of chances that could have turned the game, but Jack Rose was there again, and as you mentioned before as well, that it's like some real critical saves, good saves, almost becoming the norm.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if I said that to you last night when I saw you after the game. I said it's strange to be talking about the goalkeeper after a 3-0 win like that. It's,
exactly.
Do you know what? I mean, yes, we won 3-0. I do think a lot of the midfield had spells they were good, but then had a lot of spells where the ball was not sticking. I think Will was trying his little trick a few too many times of cutting inside and stopping it and then starting again. Do you know, I'm going to go with Ben because he's solid. Again, he's a nice, easy one to stick in there. Could have gone with Eastie, but no, I'll go with Ben. Solid. Yeah.
Again, he's such a consistent performer, isn't he? You can stick him in virtually every week. But,
yeah, we'll go with Ben. Right, I'll stick that out. I mean, to be fair, it didn't really matter who I was going to say because I suspect we can have Omar winning this one. But,
yeah.
So we'll put them out and we'll put them to the vote and we'll see what happens. Right, quickly on to the most likely postponed game of the season. The long trip to Barrow. I'm not sure how many people are actually going. I don't think there's a coach going because there was lack of demand. I think it is one of those things where Barrow have had a bit of a history where they called off games quite late, so people are kind of going, "Yeah, I'm not risking it." But let's assume that the game does go ahead. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's 9th versus 10th. If they win, they catch us because we're 3 points ahead of them. If we win, that's going to put real daylight between us and the rest of the chasing pack.
Well, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on momentum, which we've talked about, and we are definitely flying at the moment. And Barrow are on a steady slide down the table. I think they've stopped it a little bit, haven't they? But they were flying. Well, they were definitely punching from half the season, weren't they? They were third, fourth, but now I think they're probably more balanced about in their position where they should be. I'll be very surprised if we don't come away with anything. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a point, but I have high hopes.
Yeah, well, I kind of said that. We owe them for what happened at their place last year. It was all a bit tetchy, and we missed the penalty, and we dropped points, and there was the whole crowd shouting abuse and whatnot. And then I thought, actually, they probably feel they owe us a little bit from our game earlier in the season. So, both teams probably going at it, trying to get revenge for something. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to call. I mean, I think if we're going to be having a serious push, we definitely need at least a point out of it. But I would like to come away with all of them. Especially as they've sent our mate Richie away to Scunthorpe, so he's not going to be around to come off the bench and score against us. So
that's handy.
And by the way, did you notice that Don Telford had a bad game? I said that. I wasn't bricking it and scared at all, but literally, it was the 92nd minute, or 93rd, 4th minute, and I turned around to Taz and I was like, "See, told you he was going to have a bad game." But yeah, that's about all I've got this week. So thank you very much for not standing me up and making me do it as a monologue.
No worries.
I think everyone else thanks you as well for that. Next time, assuming Barrow goes ahead, it's going to be Johnny, I think, who's going to be on, and he'll be obviously telling us about his book, which don't forget you can pick up from the club shop or online. And he's also just done his first book as an ebook. Why did I struggle with that? He's doing it as an ebook as well, so you can get that as well. If you're on Twitter, it's at 6 added minutes, but I'm sure we'll tell you all about it next week as well. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks a lot, Paul, for your time. If you want to let me know your thoughts, follow, like, share, comment on any of the socials at Sutton Podcast, and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platforms. Make sure you stay up to date with all the latest episodes, and we will see you soon. Thank you all very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
United! 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 United!